Baxcalibur may be the card that we've been looking for this whole time to get rid of the outrageous decks that is Hydreigon and Greninja. What up peeps, Nuggie here, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be showcasing Baxcalibur, the one card that has essentially shaken up the meta and just getting rid of decks like Hydreigon and Suicune Greninja. Now, what makes this card so special is that it is a water variant of the old Genetic Apex Gardevoir deck where you can attach an energy to the active, but what the key difference of this deck is that Buster Tail, for a stage 2 Pokemon, it has 90 damage, which does get rid of units like Ori, and it just allows you to have energy if you are using a unit like Suicune or whatnot for turn 3 and start swinging. So this is actually a important tool to have, and you're going to see in a few clips here that we'll do maybe a little bit of a VOD review on, because this deck is exactly the deck that I used to play in a previous tournament just over the weekend with my fellow Australian mates, as we were lucky and grateful enough to advance to the semi-finals. We versed against an amazing team, which was Malaysia and Singapore, and on both sides, honestly, we both had one Baxcalibur deck, very similar build, just slight differences with the support card or whatnot, but essentially it's running the double Suicune, Qianpao, and double Baxcalibur role, and they both did really well. Now, the idea of this deck is that you want to start with Suicune in the active so you can start drawing cards to get Baxcalibur up online ASAP, and if you're lucky enough, you can start with Suicune and Frigibax in the bench so that if you are able to draw your Candy or Baxcalibur by turn 3, you'll be able to start swinging straight away. Qianpao is an amazing card where it can do 130 wherever it wants, so this is kind of like your finisher. But the thing with Qianpao is that it's going to need 3 energy, and when it uses that attack, it loses all the energy afterwards. So that's why you see the 2 Baxcaliburs here to just instantly charge up the Qianpao as well. And what makes it even better is that Baxcalibur, if in dire need, it can charge itself with its other partner and be able to swing for that 90. And this definitely you're going to see a lot in ranked mode, if you haven't seen already in tournament results and everything. But I wanted to bring this deck to give attention to you guys to have a look at it and see what's going to be used to counter it in the future. But for now, let's head over to the clips so you'll see just kind of how quick and alarmingly strong this is, but at the same time it's really refreshing to see a new meta being put into this mini set variant where a lot of people didn't have a lot of high hopes for it. So let's go and break it down. Alrighty guys, now these clips are from the PNC round number 5. We were just into the playoffs here. You can see that right now in terms of the scoreboard, Malaysia and Singapore are up 8 points to 7. I am the last player for the Australian team, and it's essentially first team to reach 10 points will advance over to the semi-finals. So we have a big task ahead of us. Now, I do have the deck list down below there so you guys can see exactly what it is and what's happening, and we can kind of go through on just how the run went. All right, so here we go. It's kind of a first for me, so let's see how we go. So we do go first here, which is not actually the worst. And the reason for that is because we do have our new Water Gardevoir version, which is the Baxcalibur. And you can see that we got really lucky with the starting hand here. We've essentially got our whole line. And looking at the deck there, we are versing a Hydreigon. So there's a high chance of this, the deck specifically that Malaysia and Singapore brought is Hydreigon. So we didn't have to worry about any Chinglings or anything. And that would have been definitely detrimental, which as a tip, I think if you have this deck go up against Chinglings, then obviously you can't do the curve that we're about to do. Now, we top deck the Guzma here, which is just basically a really good top deck because most of these Hydreigon decks will run the Poison Barb Nihilego version, and you can see there as well that we top deck the starting planes as well. Now, moving on to this, we're waiting to see what Lotus is going to do, but at the moment we are feeling pretty good. Now, if we do get Suicune up and running on the field, there is a chance here that we'll only do a measly 20 damage just because Suicune's damage is based on how much is on the bench. So in my mind and the team's mind here, we're kind of hoping that we're going to top deck either like a Professor's, right, to try and grab another basic on the board, or we go ahead and get a Pokeball and at least do one more Pokemon on the field so that we can at least kind of go ahead and get a one-shot KO on this Dino, because currently as it stands, there's no way for them to kind of avoid the upcoming damage. Now, they've just done a copycat here, so they must not have had a good starting hand, or they're just trying to build up their board. You can see here the Pokeball. My team is now thinking, all right, come on, man, let's put down a basic on the board so we can at least do 40 damage, which puts a little bit of pressure here. Poison Barb goes into play. Fantastic. And we do see that they do have the ability to attack. And so we're looking at that starting planes and going, okay, we're probably going to need to put that down. So in case he does evolve into Hydreigon, we're good. However, as we see this come into play here, we have enough damage on board now to one-shot this Dino. And you can see here, we're really happy. We top deck another basic as well. Not that we currently need it right now, but yeah, you can see we're going to use Guzma. We don't want our Suicune to be poisoned at all. And we put down the other Suicune down just for extra damage, because what we're doing here, we're going to put in starting planes, which is going to actually boost the Dino's HP by 20 as well, which means that we, in total, do need 4 Pokemon board. And the reason why we do starting planes here is just in case if the back Dino does magically evolve into a Hydreigon, then the Suicune in the active, because it's damaged, is going to get knocked out. So that's the order sequence of plays that we do here. You can see that we are able to use the Ice Maker, which is the ability for Baxcalibur, giving a Suicune the energy it needs. Mind you, this is turn 3. All right, for Suicune to attack turn 3, not using Misty for higher Gamba for purposes, is extremely potent. And now we have a massive lead on our hands. We have a spare Suicune to switch to attack if we need to. And the beauty part about this, guys, is that if we have the active Suicune there, we can just retreat and charge up a new Suicune automatically. And that's going to be a really powerful combo. Now, right here, you see that we've top deck Irida. So in terms of this first game of ours, we are in a very, very good position. We just have our bases covered. We've got the heal in case. There's no Mega Absol in sight. There is a chance that they can put down another Poison Barb, and we not like we'd struggle in a way because we've got the energy generator on board, but it's just going to make things a little bit longer to try and secure this victory. We do go into a little bit of a problem here just because now that there's only 3 Pokemon on board, we can only do 60 damage max, and Lotus here is most likely thinking the same thing, that he just hopes that we don't have a basic that we're going to draw to be able to fill that up from 60 currently to 80, which one-shots this Dino as well if he doesn't evolve. We were pretty lucky here because I don't believe that Lotus evolves this Dino anyways, and you can see that they're thinking, and because this is a team game, it's going to be a bit longer, guys, because there's a lot of brains in play here, and they're trying to produce the best possible outcome before it switches over to the opposing team. So it looks like they go for the headbutt here, which is fine, because what we do here, we are going to get Irida value. We top deck the boat here, which I think in this particular game, it's not going to matter as much, but you're going to see later on in our explanation that this boat is literally going to save our lives and get us the decided victory. But right here, we put on the Ice Maker as well. Always charge it like you used to do in the Genetic Apex Gardevoir days. Use Irida to top Suicune's health from 120 up to 160, which is full health again because he's been attacked twice. And then we're just going to swing for the 60 here, I believe. But you can see already how this meta is shifting. Suicune for the draw, Baxcalibur for the instant attack, and you have this ability again to retreat if you need to and just swing with another Pokemon. Now we put the energy on the Baxcalibur there because for some instances that we need to do it, which is also really important here, guys. If you notice, we have the starting planes on the board here, and the Nihilego at the back is at 90. So there is a chance for Lotus here to switch to the Nihilego at 90 to tank it. And Baxcalibur, because it does do 90 damage, will be able to one-shot that Nihilego. And look, you can see here, everybody loves to hate, hates to love this card. It is the Icy Pop. It's the most RNG healing item on board. You can see that our guy here managed to roll 2 heads, I think it was, before it finally went into the discard pile. So here we're thinking, all right, we can still one-shot this, but even if he heals to full, we do have a Pokeball in hand, so most likely we're going to get either the other Frigibax or the Chien-Pao in play so that we can take this out, so long as he doesn't evolve. So I'd like to say again that we are also lucky right now that he doesn't seem to have it, otherwise he would have evolved it ages ago. And you can see here, because life is just so against us in a way, that my opponent manages to have 2 lucky Ice Pops to tank. So you can see here that he switched over to the Nihilego. And this is exactly what we say here. We have energy on the Baxcalibur, so we're going to charge the Baxcalibur and probably take this out. But right now, we're going to Pokeball and see what we get. It's another Frigibax, which is actually pretty good for us because we do have the other candy in play. And what we're going to do here, I think I'm going to preserve an energy from the Suicune. So I think I'm going to put the boat on the active Suicune, if I remember correctly. And we also want to minimize our hand as well, because our opponent does have Copycat as well. So it looks like we're going to go ahead and throw that on there. And then we're going to retreat to the Baxcalibur and swing for 90, which gives us 2 points, leaving them to most likely throw in the Mega Absol, since it's already got an energy in the back there to just try and swing for whatever it is they could. Oh, and actually, never mind. It looks like I'm doing some calculations here, and we do have 100 damage that we can do here. But yes, okay. So we either could have done 100 damage because we've got minions on board, as well as them. And it looks like... Oh, no. Yeah, we were considering. Yeah, okay. Sorry. I take that back. We were considering on switching to the Frigibax, but I think the value of him staying around is just too valuable. And the Suicune's not going to get 2-shotted anyways. He brings in the Mega Absol, and I think at this point in the game, we're essentially looking for Chien-Pao. Because what happens here is that the Suicune's going to tank for the 80 damage that Mega Absol's going to do. Mega Absol's looking at the board state and everything, it's most likely that he's going to go ahead and get rid of the Professor's Research, but at the cost of receiving 80 damage. And the good part about this is that we did see earlier Dino trying to use 2 Ice Pops to stay into the game. And we know that this Absol is not going to be able to recover. So you can see right here, we just top decked our Chien-Pao. One of the slight difficulties right now is that Chien-Pao, if we do manage to place it down afterwards, it's not going to be able to have enough energy unless we get the Frigibax that is on our bench to evolve into Baxcalibur. And you can see here that we're actually going to try and preserve the Suicune. So we're just going to switch and swing, which is a good thing to do. I'm considering on using Copycat, but I decide against it just because we already have 2/3 of the Baxcalibur at play. We have very few cards left, so it looks most likely that we're just going to swing here. And I believe there is a shot that Lotus is going to Cyrus my Suicune. Now, we've just top-decked the Baxcalibur, so we're in a very, very good position here, guys. It's very hard for them to come back. He does candy into the Hydreigon here. I will quickly check. I don't remember if he brings in the Hydreigon at the front, but at this stage of the game, it doesn't matter because we've got our setup complete and ready to go. And yeah, this is just really strong to see how Plains is, just to keep your basic EXs up there, because Chien-Pao only has 130 hit points. So this is just one of those tank and just wait it out kind of scenarios. And it looks like he's gone for a hit, just a hit here, just to see what happens. And right now we're going to go for our final Baxcalibur. And now he knows that this game is just done and dusted. Now, because the player that I'm about to knock out is the 4th player of their team. What they're doing right now, most likely, is trying to grab information for their final player to see what it is I have in this deck, because I said earlier, Malaysia and Singapore did run another version of Baxcalibur. I believe it used Mars and Poncho with this, and they didn't use the boat that we had. And putting this through here, I believe he's just going to swing to see what we have, and he finds out that we do actually run Sabrina in our deck, whereas I think their version ran Cyrus. So you can see there's a few slight support changes and whatnot, but the core Pokemon is the 2 Suicunes, 2 Baxcaliburs, and the Chien Pao. That is going to be in essentially every Baxcalibur deck you see. And right there, he goes for the KO, but he knows he's lost, but he's gotten information for the next round. Now, the other 2 rounds is not as long as this one, so I do apologize for this one being a bit longer than normal, but what you're about to see next will be a bit quicker. And it'll be cool because the next match, I believe, which is their final player, they're going to be bringing in an electric deck, which, in hindsight, against Suicune, generally the electrics will be favored, but one of the caveats here is that Baxcalibur and Chien Pao are weak to steel. So that's a really helpful tool for us because we actually have another weakness that we can cover if Suicune is ever in trouble. Alright, so the board state right now is 8 apiece, and we are here ready to go, and we're going second this time. So we found out, alright, our opponent going electric. We have Suicune to go second, which is pretty good because at least we get to swing. The starting hand that we have, I would say, is not the greatest. You know, having 2 candies, Copy and Guzma, not the most ideal. And they start with Magnemite, but because we get to go second, they don't get to swing first in terms of attack. So we have a little bit of time. And yeah, we're just going to wait and see what they do. But a lot of the times, I think electric will... because of the Baxcalibur now, I feel like this is more of a 50-50 fight, whereas with Sweet Ninja, I think it was slightly favored towards electric. You see that we weren't happy with the Baxcalibur. The main reason why we copycat is because we really need basics on board. And in a way here, you see that we've got the Frigibax and the boat. And right now, at least we're able to put something down. We have another turn to try and look for more basics. Right now, the damage is at 20. And I am considering here to put on the starting planes because why not? Most of the time, decks currently like Hydreigon and Ori Zone and whatnot don't really run stadium cards unless there is an Ori Zone Belly Bolt variant with training area to just do that extra little damage, which would be pretty detrimental to Suicune decks. It looks like here I've opted not to use it because I believe in my head I didn't want to give Magnemite an extra 20 health because then I won't be able to KO it, right? Like even if we have 3 Pokemon on the bench and they don't have any, we can't KO it because of starting planes. Most likely though, because Magnemite is very important to get up and running, that they're going to have to put that in the backs. He does evolve into a Magneton here, and which means he's not going to be able to swing or damage us, and that means that we have time now to go ahead and swing, but we're more than often than not we're trying to really grab more basics so we can do damage, because we know that what's coming next is most likely going to be the genetic apex, no, not genetic apex, sorry, but the older Magnezone that does 110 weakness wise, 130 to the Suicune, or it's going to be the one that confuses the Suicune. Now, as I said, the later half of the Magnezone that does the confusion, it's not going to affect us too much, just because if we do manage to get Baxcalibur up online, we can just do the old switcheroony and swing again. But yeah, you can see Moose here is having a lot of thought. His whole teammate's trying to help him and decide what's the best course of action here. And we're just waiting it out, guys. There's not much more we can kind of go with it. And we see that he's gone for another copycat. But I do think maybe his copycat that he placed there was a bit too late because he ran out of time. So if he did run a Magnemite in the back that he got from that copycat, he's not able to place it, which means it's actually going to delay him for an extra turn. Now, we got really lucky with this professor's research here because we got a Pokeball and a Candy, which means we can evolve the Baxcalibur. We get another Frigibax on board. Mind you, just, you know, out of the blue here, Baxcalibur is my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon of Scarlet Violet. It's my favorite Dragon-type Gen 9 Pokemon. I think having a Dragon Ice of this caliber is really cool, and I love the name Baxcalibur with the whole references to the sword and everything in the lore. So just having this was just really good to see, and I was so excited when we saw the Crown Baxcalibur, and I'm thinking, this feels like it's gonna be meta, and I'm so glad it is right now. But yeah, you can see here, unfortunate, but the opponent knew as well. He can't afford to put too much stuff down, but at the same time, he was maybe late with the whatever Pokemon he was planning to throw down. And I guarantee you, with decks like this, they will run an Oricorio. But because we've put energy onto the Baxcalibur, oh my god, the Baxcalibur, we will be able to swing and hit out that Ori if they ever do put it down. Now, most likely here, a Moose is going to evolve. He's got really no choice but to go for it. And it looks like he gets the Magnezone with 110 damage. So this is going to do quite a bit. Ice Pop, again, the most insane item we've ever seen, I would say, thus far in the world of Pocket, is there. He gets ahead, so he gets to go again. But we're lucky in this sense that at least we were able to grab a Chien Pao. And we are able to then, I believe, we are going to charge the Chien Pao on our turn and see what happens here. Now, we get a little bit of information that the opponent ran Clement here, which means that his other Magneton is in his hand. A bit strange at the moment. I'm thinking, does he not have Magnemite? I'm very certain I mean, actually, I'll take it back. I don't think I was very certain because I'm looking at how many cards left, but he's not seeming to put any Pokemon down. Like, it's great that he's able to heal all this. He's able to keep his lucky Ice Pop. He's able to swing for 130. My Suicune is in trouble. And looking at what I have currently in my hand, I'm thinking, all right, there's most likely not a chance that I'm going to be able to save this Suicune. Now, I have one of two plays to do here. I do have the boat in hand as well. I could either save the Suicune, put the boat on the Suicune, and retreat for the 1 energy and then swing with Baxcalibur, or I can go ahead and just kind of give him a little bit like of a self-sacrifice where we're just going to swing for the 60 here, which isn't the best because he still has Ice Pop up and running, right? So he could potentially heal all the 60 back, and then we charge the Chien Pao. So based on what I've done here, you can see that we have charged the Chien Pao so that it can swing for 130, just in case, because, you know, in an ideal world, 140 hit points, he has to Ice Pop heads twice again, which for me, I would probably fail. I just never get anything more than 20 hit points healed. And it looks like we've put the boat on the Chien Pao, which is really good for us because essentially what happens here, we sacrifice the Suicune, we switch to Chien Pao, he uses up all his energy, and he'll be able to retreat for free while we go ahead and charge the Baxcalibur for our play after the Chien Pao is played. And while we do that as well, we are stalling for 2 turns essentially, so we can try and get the other Baxcalibur up, because if we do, we'll be able to continuously charge Chien Pao and keep him attacking 130 anywhere he wants all the time. And what's good here, and in a way lucky for us, that he did not get another Ice Pop here, which means that when he attacks the Suicune, the next time is Chien Pao will attack and KO it. Now, in some cases, there are instances where Orizone will run capes or ponchos, and we're lucky enough in this situation that we have 2 ways to cover it. One, which is the Guzma, or we could go ahead and do the Sabrina and get rid of whoever's going, you know, swap around and just use Chien Pao to attack there, since poncho only works for the bench. Now, in this part, we do see that Oricorio has a poncho on it, and I believe that is to keep in mind, guys, they know most of the cards of what we are running. So I think they're trying to bait the Guzma play here. But we're not going to fall for it. We're going to leave it as is. Mind you, they've got 2 points now, so ideally it's like a little scary where we're at. but I think when we did all the calculations and everything, we were thinking, I think we're going to be fine here. We top deck the Baxcalibur, and we're just hoping to Professors for a candy here, which is going to just solidify our lead. And we do with that. Throw in the Baxcalibur, and now we're all set. Now, this is where a Moose is probably thinking, all right, there's too much bling on the board here, and there is no way to deal with this Chien-Pao at this point in time. At the same time, I'm putting energy on the Baxcalibur to get ready for Ori's, elimination. And what happens here as well, we've decided to put the cape on, and mind you, because the boat exists for Chien-Pao, he gets to retreat for free. The starting planes is very, very good to Chien-Pao here because he's got 150 hit points rather than 130. And the caveat through all this, guys, all of the Pokemon on the board here are now weak to steel. They do not get any bonus weakness damage whatsoever, and that means that Oricorio is only going to do 50. Now, Moose only has 2 cards left in hand. He could do a Magnemite Cape move, but again, as I said, we've got Sabrina and we have Guzma, which means that we've got the bases loaded in case they decide to cape up or something. I don't know if Moose was holding that Magnemite his whole time, but it looks like he had no choice here and realizes that there isn't really a way out just because we've got 2 of the Baxcaliburs here. And so what was once currently, we were down 8-7. We are now 1 game away from advancing into the semifinals. So this final game is going to be against, I think it's Hydreigon. So the final player brought his 2 decks, which is the Ori Zone and Hydreigon. Now, this is what I talked about earlier in the first match about the importance of boat that you're seeing. We have 2 out of the 3 cards ready to go for Baxcalibur, which is great. We start turn 1 with Chien-Pao, which isn't the most ideal. However, we top deck Frigibax. We have a fantastic hand now because we could boat the Chien-Pao, but we got to see if we can get the Suicune from this professor's research, which we get the Irida, and lo and behold, we get Suicune. So now, using boat, switching it out, and going through here, we're going to go ahead. Hey, hang on, buddy. Hang on, buddy. All right, guys, I'm sorry for that interruption, but we're going to have a little bit of interruption, and anybody's parents, you know how hard it is, so we're just going to go with the show, all right? Let's carry on here. We Professor's research into the Irida and Suicune, and we go ahead and grab the Suicune. We use the boat on top of the Chien-Pao, and we get Frigibax here. All right, so essentially at this point, he doesn't know what we have yet, and he is going second, so he will charge energy, and this is the importance of why this Pokemon Baxcalibur is going to be so strong in the meta, because right here, normally for this type of play, we'd be a little bit behind, but because of the Baxcalibur, we're going to be able to swing on turn 3. Now, the beauty part you see here, we've got Irida and Guzma again, which means that if he does put a Poison Barb on the Mega Absol, we will just immediately remove it so we can swing for free. He goes for the Pokeball here, and there's the Poison Barb. So where normally you'd be worried, but I will also say this, that I don't know if I've said this throughout the whole video, is... Hang on, guys. Alrighty, going through here, we Pokeball for extra board state. We chuck down the Suicune, we evolve into Baxcalibur here, we charge the Suicune in the active, we Guzma and get rid of the Poison Barb, and by turn 3, with a Moose as a aggressive Hydreigon player, not having any Dinos on board, he's in a lot of trouble. Because what happens here as well, as you can see, if for any reason the Suicune we have in the active is going to be in trouble, we can retreat to the other Suicune and swing again for the exact amount of energy and everything. And because we have Chien-Pao in play, he sees that, he's going to know that he's in trouble. Now he's going to most likely swing, which I think we lose the Irida here, but that's all he can do. There's not much else he can do afterwards. We wait and see what he does. We'll see. And he can't really afford... This is where it's kind of stuffed up for him as well, because he can't really afford to put down a basic on the bench, because then that's more damage for Suicune. Now, we see Lucky Ice Pop, as per usual, does its normal routine. But we're going to see if he does hold 2 as well. Turns out he rolls Tails here, so he loses a Lucky Ice Pop. And I'll just check if he swings again, but I do believe that he Ice Pops one more time, because again, when this is happening to you, whenever there's one Ice Pop, there's always a second one next to it as well. And it looks like he's got that. He's got full health, so the initial attack from Suicune didn't do anything. He gets to swing and get rid of our Irida here. So far, I wouldn't say this is alarming or anything. And we have 2 choices here. We can go ahead and retreat and switch to the other Suicune, but I have opted here, you know what, if he's going to heal, we're going to swing again and charge the Chien-Pao, because if he fails on the coin flip of the Ice Pop, then we will go ahead and just use Chien-Pao to finish off here. And so now, in terms of RNG, the Ice Pop is the only thing that will save this Absol from deletion and giving them a chance to go for another game. So let's see. This Ice Pop here heals once again. So 130. He needs 1 more head to get out of the Chien-Pao range. He doesn't. Rolls a tail. And this is looking like it's most likely the end. He goes for Sabrina, but because we have the boat on Chien-Pao, it's most likely here that we put in Chien-Pao in the front, because he can take a hit. And it looks like Moose is officially out of plays. He concedes, and we end up winning the match. So thank you guys for everything that you saw here. This is essentially what's going to be the meta. Apologies for just life in general, but that's it is. You just work around it. And hope you enjoy the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what you think of the vid. And I'll see you guys on the next one.